Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us this morning for the first session. My name is Tarik Bellahcene. I'm from the European Heat Pump Association, and I work mainly on the certification and the quality aspect of heat pumps. So today, what I'm going to share with you is some information about the certification and what are the benefits of certifying a product. We will go through the certification scheme and process, and at the end, we'll look exactly on where the heat pump key mark is recognized and which market do you have access to. A quick introduction to EHPA. EHPA is for European Heat Pump Association. We are based in Brussels. It's an association dedicated only, which is specific to EHPA, only to heat pumps. So we are really dedicated to the heat pump sector. We organized our activity in three main blocks, three main groups. So we have the first group that is our main activity. It's about policy. So the group dealing with policy is following all the regulatory and policy developments. And we cover also the policy related to product. So in general, I can give you 2-3 files we are working on. As a policy group is the Fit for 55, the recently Repower Europe. We work on F-gas files. And of course, eco-design, as I said, when we talk about policy related to product. The second group is the projects group. So we are organizing, leading, or collaborating on European projects founded by Europe, linked directly or sometimes indirectly to the heat pump sector. The third group is the quality group. This is where I am. It's about certification and quality for the sector always of the heat pumps. So we mainly manage the two major quality certification schemes that are in Europe, the quality label for EHPA and the heat pump key mark. So before jumping to certification and the process and the steps and what we need to do, where it will take you, I think it's important to question what is the certification? Why we certify? Certification is not only a piece of paper. Some sees it like that. It's a piece of paper that we hang on the wall and that's it. But certification, it's beyond that. It's a win-win situation where definitely there is benefit for the end user and the manufacturer. We start with the end user, so the most important for the end user when they buy a certified heat pump is that they feel like they bought a quality product and a safe product. So this is very important for them. The second point also covered by certification, and it's a real benefit for the end user, is the fact that when they look at the certified, the regulated, so certified products, they can compare. They can compare products and they can make a buying decision even faster. So these are 2 points that can be very important for the end user to have a certified product. Now, if we jump to the business, so for the manufacturer, the first important thing, of course, we should keep it always in mind, is that in terms of regulatory aspect, when they certify their product, they are kind of covered and they reduce the risks. You can think of any risk. It can be legal risk, it can be financial risk. So the fact that you certify a product, it can help you also as a manufacturer. And the fact that also you look at the third party certification body, looking after your certification, monitoring your certification, you will realize that long term, you will have even return on your investment, and sometimes faster than you can think. The last point is very important, and it's one of the topics of today's presentation, is the entry to the markets. So being certified will open you certain doors, certain markets, because it will give access to the end user to some subsidies or incentives or national plans to enhance and to develop the heat pump utilization and in the houses. So now we move to the certification and to the key mark. So you need to know that in general, the key mark is a voluntary mark. It's a European mark. It's owned by and it was developed, it was the idea, and it was developed by Sen and Senelec. And the idea was to have a certification scheme that can be used as a harmonized scheme, certification scheme and a quality scheme that will refer to European standards and to eco-design requirements and to EU regulation, whatever is the regulation. So this is the idea of the key mark in general. So when you think about key mark, you can always think that we can have a key mark scheme for any product as far as there is a standard, European standards that can back up, that can be used as a reference to test and to certify according to these standards. So today, key mark is not only for heat pumps. You can find key mark in the insulation, you can find key mark in solar, you can find key mark in thermostatic valves. So there are several schemes that are now used that are kind of harmonized certification schemes. Now we will focus, of course, on the key mark related to the heat pumps. So for the key mark related to heat pumps, there is a group of people that are voluntarily doing the work. So we are organized in a heat pump scheme group. So we involve manufacturers, we involve certification bodies, we involve test laboratories. So this is the scheme group. Then there is a scheme steering committee. So there is the heat pump steering committee, who is more or less the equivalent, for those who are familiar with the working groups, kind of working group. They are the ones who are developing the standards, developing the rules, the regulation, and then they submit it to the scheme group for approval and for a vote. The third part of this organization is the heat pump secretariat, and here it's me mainly, and this is the role of the European Heat Pump Association here. So we manage and we coordinate the scheme group, the scheme committee, and we promote the program. So this is important to understand that in these scheme groups, we involve all the manufacturers, testing laboratories, certification bodies, so it's open to any stakeholder interested from the sector. On top of this, so in the organization, you have the key mark management organization. So on behalf of Sen, because if you recall my previous slides, key mark is owned by Sen, so they delegate a key mark management organization to supervise all this activity related to key mark. So now, we are still talking about key mark and heat pumps, so now what is the scope? The scope of key mark is covering heat pumps for air, water heating, or both, up to 400 kilowatt. And you can see the list, and in the regulation, you can see the extended list and the details. So we cover almost all the type of heat pumps. And then for these heat pumps, when we start a certification scheme, that's where we start to look on creating family of products to test and to certify. So we need to take all your heat pumps, models, and types, and we are going to organize like families of products to decide what to test and how to test and when to test. And to do this classification, we have 3 levels. The first level is the type of the heat pump, and it will depend on the heat source, the heat sink, and the driving energy. Then you have a subtype, so it's the second level of the classification. So to have a subtype, to be on the same subtype, you have to have the identical refrigeration, you need to have the same refrigerant and the mass of the refrigerant, and also you need to fulfill the conditions that it's the same compressor, same condenser, same evaporator, defrost, expansion device. So we are here at the second level. So this is what we test. It's the subtype that we are going to test. The subtype can have, this is the last layer of the classification, the subtype can be made of different models. So in the same model, as far as they have the identical refrigeration circuits, but they have differences in terms of integrated circulator or corrosion protection or the connections that are different. These are different models that will be considered as one subtype. So we will not need to test all the models. This is about the classification. So you know that we have type, subtypes, and models. Now, when we have the family of products, we know exactly how many families we have, how many subtypes we have, and we are going to test. This is defined by the certification body, by the way. We need to refer to standards. And these are the standards that we refer to. These are European standards, first of all, that are very common. The most common are 14511, 123009 that you are probably familiar with. And also, not to forget that we have to also be compliant with eco-design and the European regulation. So for the eco-design and the eco-design and the energy labeling, this regulation, this European regulation is organized in 4 different lots. Probably the one that you hear the most, that is covering most of the heat pumps that at least we certify, is the lot 1. It's for space and combination heaters. You have also the energy labeling following, so each eco-design regulation is connected, tightly connected to an energy labeling, and this is the regulation references that you can have in related to the eco-design. I have my colleague from eco-design, if you have questions, that is in the room here, or we have a stand here if you have questions, so anytime, do not hesitate to come to us to ask about the energy labeling, the eco-design. Because they are still working, they are still discussing on the eco-design aspects. These are the most topics, like most hot topics that they are covering. Probably you heard about the minimum energy efficiency limits, the requirements for material efficiency, the energy label, or the self-monitoring also, that is a topic that is now discussed. And you can find on our website all our positions and recommendations that we made related to the eco-design and the energy label. So now we move to the certification process. So we know how we organize the families of products, we know what are the standards that we are going to refer to, and now we need to see how we certify. So what is the real process? What are the steps? What do you need to do concretely? So the certification process is made by certification body. It's not me, it's not EHPA, it's not the Secretariat, it's not Keymark, it's a certification body that is ISO 17065. The testing are made according to laboratories that are accredited ISO 17025. Both the certification bodies and the laboratories are empowered by Keymark, Heat Pump Scheme Group, and Steering Committee to deliver the certification scheme and to deliver a certification that is a truly third-party certification. Today we have 24 test laboratories, and we have 9 certification bodies. So the 9 certification bodies are around Europe. They are Europeans, definitely. They need to be in Europe. And we have also these 24 laboratories that are in Europe, but also outside Europe. So when you choose a laboratory, you have nice coverage of Europe where you can pick a lab and decide to work and to collaborate with them on your certification. Now, if we move to the process, so very easy, 4 steps. The 5th is the annual monitoring. But the first thing to do is to go to the certification body. You choose a certification body, and you select your partner to work on the certification. You agree on the families, I said, about the types, subtypes, and the models, what to test. They will tell you what to test exactly. And you will agree on a date and to have already a factory inspection. So you will have an audit at the production location. Don't forget that the certification is linked to a production location, always, a real certification. Then step 3 is to do the testing, and step 4, the test report audit, the test report and the audit report in the hand of the certification body. They will review all this and will make a certification decision. So they will certify your product, and you will have your certificate. The fifth step is the annual monitoring. This is a continuous certification. It's not one shot, you do certification, you do one test, and you disappear. No, we will audit every year your production location. We will eventually do some testing every year. It depends on which scheme you are choosing. So for the production location monitoring, there is the classical walk through the production, looking at the supplier's name, list, what are you using as materials, and so on. But also you need to have what they call an FPC, factory product control. So you need to have a plan, a quality plan related, covering these heat pumps that are certified. Now for the sampling and the testing, it's important to understand that you have two options to test for the admissions, for the initial testing. You have two options. The first option is that you say, I will test all the products that needs to be tested. Or you say, no, I will start with one part of the products, and we will build a plan on how you are going to test through a 2 years plan, a 3 years plan, all the models that needs to be certified. So this is what we call a one-off admission testing, where you test everything, or periodic testing approach. So you have two options on how you can qualify and certify your heat pumps. Now to maintain the certification, so it was the step 5. So after being certified, the year after, what are you going to do? What will happen? If you did all the testing, you completed all the tests that you need to do to qualify all the models that you wanted to, then you have an audit and some paper check, but no testing because you tested everything. And if it's a periodic surveillance, if you decided to test all the products within 2 or 3 years' time, then you will have to do some testing, and of course you will have the audit to be done on a yearly basis. This is just to tell you that there is this own brand labeling. It means that you can, when you certify your product, you can label your product with a different name, with a different designation, with the name of a distributor, whatever. It needs to do some paperwork process, but it is an option for you to label your product with a different name or a different designation or whatever. This is something that is quite common. Now, where do we recognize the scheme? Because now we arrive to the point where you are certified, you are receiving your audits, you did your testing, but now we need to question what I'm going to do with this certification, where I can go. So the blue countries are the countries where you can refer to the key mark to access to subsidies, incentive plans, and things like this. Or even if there is any specific regulation that is coming, that is at a national level, you can refer to the key mark. The one country in yellow is the Netherlands. The Netherlands is also to be accepted within the key mark scheme. So the Netherlands will also accept the key mark for their incentive schemes and their national schemes in parallel to what is today in place. So we have an important here step, having the Netherlands joining soon the key mark recognition. Where there is no recognition, it's where is the no recognition? It's the green ones, where there is no certification required. We are working, we are developing mainly north of Europe also. They are thinking to establish a third party because they realize the benefit of having a third party regulated market. So this is also important to know that we are working on some countries. So to tell you that in total, what we have today, we have 75 certificate holders, we have 1,000 certificate issued, and 5,000 certified models. And just for the first part of this year, we have already certified 145 subtypes. So I started with benefits, and I finished with benefits as as a wrap-up to what I tried to explain, is that the third-party certification aids the purchasing decision. So it's an important point. So the purchasing decision here is boosted because the consumers feel confident that they are buying a quality product. It is important. The recognition of the key mark to enter some European markets. And important also to know that the data that we have related to the certifications are public. You can access it. I said that even the consumer can compare performance of heat pumps by looking at our website. So this is completely open, and it's open to all the stakeholders around the heat pump sector. Thank you very much for listening to me.